All right, let's get started, y'all. Let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started. All right, hold on. Yeah, let's get started. All right. Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to Tweety Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets. I'm your host, Los Def, and I'm back here for another episode 175 of the platform. And Merry Christmas, y'all. I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. It is Christmas Day. I'm recording this on Christmas Day, and people are like, damn, man, you recording on Christmas? And I'm like, yeah, man, I got time. I got time today. I got time. Um, Man, Christmas it's been an amazing day. Got some great, really good gifts. If y'all see, I got my Jordan Love jersey. You know what I'm saying? And for people that are sports fans, picking out a jersey is pretty tough nowadays because there's a lot of guys that are changing teams all the time. That's why like it's hard to pick an NBA team. You know what I mean? A lot of people that know my passion for the Packers and sports, they be curious, like, dang, who's your basketball team? And I'd be like, yo, I don't really got one. I was a player follower and I don't necessarily support the whole team when it's time to do that. I don't necessarily do that because I'm like, this guy might change teams, whatever. And there's a lot of people that don't understand my perspective. But it's like, yo, it's hard. It is really hard to support the NBA, not because of all the reasons why people don't support it right now. There's a lot of talk about the ratings being down and stuff like that. Like a lot of that is true. But for me, it's the turnover. You know what I mean? And if you were a LeBron James fan, you've had to buy like 4 or 5 different jerseys. You know what I'm saying, over the course of his career. And so I just like, it's hard to do that. There's hardly any franchise players. Like, let's think about really franchise players. You got Curry. I'm talking about somebody that's been a standout for that one team for their whole their whole career. You got Steph Curry, you got Jokic, you got Giannis right now. But these are guys that could definitely move to other places, before you know it. But so yeah, it's hard. So I don't have a basketball team, but like football, you know, understanding that Jordan Love is probably going to be with this team for the foreseeable future. He did sign a contract before the start of this season, and so this jersey is going to mean something for a while. You know what I mean? And we're not on top of our division, but we are doing our thing. We're locked into the playoffs. We're gonna get into the Packers a little bit later today. But in terms of Christmas, I'm gonna share a quick video with y'all though. But this is how the running joke is that dads don't get that same love and appreciation for Christmas, just like women do or like moms do, right? So yeah, so there is that kind of like stigma, and we're gonna kind of get into that a little bit. So I'm gonna show y'all a video real quick, and let me know if you can relate to this. Let me know if you can relate. All right, here we go. It said, "What it's like being a dad on Christmas." Yeah, this guy's not funny. All right, let's play it.
Merry
What's
Christmas!
this?
That's your Christmas present.
It ain't got no Christmas paper.
Oh my God, babe!
Where the
Just
wrapping
open
paper?
it. Just open it. It's a gift. It's
Well,
Christmas.
it's already open. I might as well just,
Yes.
what
Just
you
take
saying?
that
Just take
off.
this part off the top?
Didn't even have the nerve to wrap his gift. Didn't even have the nerve to wrap his gift. I already feel the disrespect right here. You know what I mean? So let's keep going.
And look inside. Boom. Whoop. There it is. Boom.
Boom, whoop,
Do you
there it
love it?
is.
Y'all got me work boots.
Yes.
Steel toe.
Yes. I found them at a yard sale. I got a really good deal for them.
Used steel toe boots for Christmas is nasty work. You know what I'm saying? This is something that you could have picked me up, on a yard sale day in the springtime, whatever, any time of the year. It could even be before Christmas, but don't tell me it's a Christmas gift. But used steel toe boots for Christmas is nasty work. Right? So let's keep going. And then you're gonna put it in the Amazon box. That's another red flag.
They were used, but they're a really
Mm-hmm.
good deal. Keep going. There's more in your box. There's more. There's more in there.
Oh,
Keep
oh, it's
keep
more in
going.
here.
Yeah, we just put it all in one box because,
Okay.
like, who cares, right?
We all put it in
I
one
told you
box
guys
because,
to be
like, who
adorable.
cares?
Boom, boom. Isn't that the one you wanted?
Not even like a tool set, just one wrench. Like let's like and then my man pulls it out like
Isn't that it?
Mm-hmm.
You told me that you needed a
Yeah,
13, and
that's
I found it.
cool.
Because you always lose your
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
13.
I did say that.
You remember? You
I did
remember you
say
I
saying
that.
did
that?
say that.
I
I
did.
Yep,
knew
you're
it.
right.
You right,
Boom.
Number
right.
13. Mm-hmm.
I knew you needed that.
What's this?
I knew you needed that. Let's keep going. Yo, just a raw wrench, like no wrapping or nothing is just nasty work. Like how much did that single wrench cost? Like let's stop playing.
Last present. Last present.
Them socks.
Yes, for your new work boots.
They're not matching.
Well, they didn't need the match, babe. They're for work.
They don't need to match, babe. They're for work.
You don't need them to match. You just need them to work in your boots.
I don't even think these are the same length. I don't.
That's okay, babe.
These ain't
That's
even the same
okay.
type of
You're going to
sock.
make it work because you're amazing. Thank you so much for this
Take a ball.
Christmas. Okay, let's open all the other presents, kids. Come on. Merry.
So hopefully, man, hopefully if you're a dad, hopefully you're not feeling that right now. You're not experiencing that kind of Christmas. Hopefully you got everything that you wanted, everything that you asked for. And but yeah, I feel like I got, real good Christmas this year. Got some really good gifts. I mean, the Jordan Love jersey. I got quite a few things, man. I got some nice stuff. And then, I mean, just being with family in general, that's always a good thing, man. So, really dope, really dope. And but like I said, hopefully you dads out there, hopefully you got what you deserved, and hopefully whoever got you some gifts, they put some effort into it though. So, um, speaking of Christmas, though, speaking of Christmas, yeah, man, this has been the weirdest. It was the weirdest year for Christmas for me in a long time because of my son, man. So, like, in terms of like what he wanted for Christmas, he didn't have the toys on the list this year. He's 10 years old, and now he's at that age where, he does have a gaming console. He has a Nintendo Switch, and I don't think it's time for him to upgrade that quite yet. But really trying to figure out what to get him because like Nerf wasn't on the table, certain action figures weren't on the table, certain kind of toys weren't on the table. And then like when it comes to buying them video games, um, you might see a game that you think, oh, that's cool. Like he'll like that. He'll like that. But like, from experiences that if he didn't specifically ask for the game, don't get him the game because he probably won't play that game. So having to figure that out, what to get him. But like I think he got a lot of cool stuff that's like he needs. But big things, I know everybody talks about oh, do you need a new TV for Black Friday, whatever. I'd be happy that companies, technology companies, electronics companies, they still mark down TVs for Black Friday and Christmas season because that is literally the best time to buy a TV. Like stop playing, and like sometimes people do be needing new TVs. So yeah, he got a nice 40 inch, so nice upgrade to what he had. He had like a little joint. He got some kicks. He did get some clothes. But the surprise gift, and I gave him some cash. But the surprise gift was he's actually getting to go to his first NBA game. His first NBA game. And I did use TickPick, you know what I mean? So if TickPick they wanna use me in an advertisement, I am open and willing. You know what I'm saying? I will take some dollars for that. But I did use TickPick and it was nice because yeah, the tickets didn't have all these extra fees on it. It's like, somebody bought them and they just try, maybe they can't go, they try to transfer them, whatever it is. Um, it was nice just paying what the price says as opposed to being surprised and have all this thing. So we live in PA, right? PA resident, and we only got one basketball team here, so it's the 76ers. And they kind of came in, everybody had high hopes for them because they got Paul George, even though Paul George is not a proven winner. And then people were making criticisms that like, oh, we're gonna be playing with Embiid, Embiid be hurt, Paul George be hurt. Like, is this really an improvement? And I don't think Embiid is, if I'm following correctly, I don't think Embiid is really has played at all yet this season. So that's a bummer. And so it's like about so their tickets tend to be a little bit cheaper, than if the team is winning, then the prices are a little bit like inflated and overpriced, but they do get overpriced and inflated when they are playing specific teams. So I'm like looking for games. It would have been dope to go to the Spurs game just to see Wembanyama, but that was like the day before Christmas Eve. So, and that was a little bit short notice. And I was like, I don't know if I can, we're gonna pull this off, and I don't know if it's gonna have the same effect. And then so I was like, all right, no, we going and then just running around and being busy, So I'm like, yeah, that's tough. So found a game in a couple weeks into January, towards the end of the month, and then I picked the Cavaliers game. And like so off surface, I'm like Cavaliers. I'm like, yo, the Cavaliers are doing really good. Like, let me see. Oh, the Cavaliers have the best record in the NBA. Oh, and they do have like four legit players that get busy. You know what I'm saying? They got Garland, they got Mitchell, they got Mobley, and then they got Jared Allen. And so yeah, so hopefully that everybody, there's a full roster there. I feel like a team like that. I haven't been keeping up with the Cavaliers, and nor have I really been keeping up with too much of the NBA. But if you have the best record in the NBA, you probably are going into these games with a full roster. So I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot. We're not going to get low management. I think the team's gonna want to maintain their best record, and maybe even by then they won't have the best record, but they're playing red hot right now. And yeah, I'm excited, man. Got some good decent seats. Didn't know if I wanted my son's first game to be like just wherever, you know what I mean? Like get cheap seats and whatever, or if I wanted to give him a better experience the first time. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna get a better experience the first time. So we are in like the 100 level. And yeah, the seats look good, man. I think we're gonna be right behind the Cavaliers bench. So, and I plan to get there early. So like I want my son to like get as close as possible to the court and see like the massive, this the size of these guys, man. Just how tall these guys are. And it's crazy because when you do sit close, or closer, I would say, and you're watching these NBA players, you're wondering, yo, how are these players fitting on this court? Like, because even though it's a full court game, it's really most time it's half court basketball. So it's 5 on 5, 10 guys on one side of the court, and it don't be feeling like there's enough space. But we're gonna see what it's looking like, and I'm pretty excited, man. And he seemed pretty amped up and excited as well. So, like I said, man, good Christmas. I have no complaints, and yeah, man, looking to get this new year off. 2025 to a good start, and got some good things happening, man, in my life. So excited for that, excited for that. But yeah, man, today's episode, we're gonna get into we're gonna talk about a little bit about college football, and a couple different topics as it pertains to college football. Then we're gonna transition and we're gonna talk about the most talked about player in college football right now, the Heisman Trophy winner, right? So we are gonna recognize his accomplishment, but also we're gonna talk about some of his off the field antics as it relates to his now fiance, right? And we're gonna get into her. And then what else we gonna get into? We're gonna get into, yeah, talking about Travis Hunter. We're gonna talk about the Green Bay Packers. And then we do have some recaps. I got a movie recap review to do, and then I have we'll talk about a TV show. Talk about a reality TV show that I really liked and enjoyed, and in its third season, and another successful season though. So all right, man. Where do we start? Where do we start? Where do we start? But yeah, man, if you're new to the channel, if you're still watching, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, send us a comment, right? Share the content with somebody that you know. And also, hit that bell for notifications so you can keep up with our updated stuff, man. Um, I just want to, shout out to my guest last week, Adrian Rose. Really dope episode with him. It's been a while since since I've done an interview, so it was cool getting knocking the rust off a little bit. And it's a different process when you are doing an interview style podcast. It does require you to be prepared and have certain questions. There were some things I wish we could have maybe did like a bar breakdown. But the only thing is with that, like when you're dealing with a local artist, you don't necessarily have, like, you have to memorize the song as opposed to being able to like look at lyrics and compare and things like that. So we couldn't do a bar breakdown, but like I feel like we really broke down all the things that he has going on and like the production side of his album. And actually is a really dope album. I've been listening to it multiple times, playing certain tracks back, and it's really well done. Like you could tell, man, he really put some work into it. I can see a lot of these songs, and that's one thing I meant to talk to him about is about sync licensing. And I can see some of these songs being sync licensed, and just him getting different opportunities, because when we just think about streaming, when we just think about selling CDs, when we just think about, just being a regular artist, I think people, shout out to Z Rich, man, from High of Life, former guest on the show, legend from my hometown. um, he really gets into showing people that, you can make this a career for yourself. Like you can be a rapper full time, but there's different avenues that you're gonna have to take to make money. Like you can't just rely on just the music and selling the music. You have to put your music in different spaces, and with the sync licensing, that's how you are getting your music onto TV shows and things like that. But yeah, man, shout out to Adrian Rose for and I feel like the reception for the most part, especially on social media, was really positive, really strong. And we probably got some more clips that we could probably churn out of there. And man, yeah, like I said, I'm glad to look forward to him. Uh, I'm glad to work with him. Looking forward to working with other artists from that label that I'm familiar with, and even talking to the label head of that. It's Big L Records, or Big Illinois Records, and just getting into these different things, and just have more conversations. So yeah, do want to get back into doing more interviews in 2025. Um, just, instead of just giving you the solo stuff. But yeah, it was a good experience, man. So shout out to Adrian Rose, man, for holding it down. All right, so let's get into college football. And I got a couple things, man, to talk about with college football. So first, we're gonna talk about the college football playoff. And for me, I did brush on this a couple episodes ago, but like I think it's amazing that we do now have an actual college playoff, and they are taking 12 teams now. It's not just like, I grew up in that BCS era, right? And I remember when the BCS was like new, and we seen how like teams would get like they would get counted out. They would get counted out, and they did a lot of different things with scheduling and conferences, and trying to make it a little bit more of a foolproof thing. But like you would have teams that would get left out. Like the year that Miami got left out of the national championship, and Florida got in over them, even though they beat Florida. But the ACC doesn't have a championship game, or they didn't at the time. And so like it just, that was probably the best Miami Hurricanes team we've ever seen. One of the best college, like all collectively, one of the best college football teams ever assembled. And we didn't get to see them in that championship. We got to see them a year later. We did get to see them a year later, but like I think Clinton Portis had already graduated. A couple other guys had already left school. Andre Johnson had already left. But they still had a really, really solid team, and then they end up losing in the national championship on a bad call. Ted, that was not a pass interference on Ted Ginn Jr. I just was watching. I just seen something about that, and it made me think about, like, yeah, I remember that as a kid. That was like in 2000, 2001. a young teenager and just being so mad, like and jaded by that whole system. So they've done a lot of things to fix it, and then they made the playoff where it was like four teams, and then they would say no, and then people still had something to say because yeah, four teams, especially when they were only putting in like it felt like SEC teams. And these teams would have like multiple losses, but then it'd be like, well, look, they're in the best conference in college football. And then we knew it was going to get expanded, and then it got expanded to 12 teams. So I think it's really dope. However, even though I feel like it eliminates most of the talk of like what teams are deserving and what teams aren't deserving, you still hear the whispers, you still hear the people complaining about, oh, this team should have made it, this team should have made it. And I'm thinking like, all right, it's not the same as like because like if you're a top five team, like the margin of success and ability is like really slim. So like yeah, you are leaving teams out. But now that we spend it to 12, right? If you did not make the playoff, then I feel like it don't matter what numbers you break down for me. It's like you didn't deserve to make the playoff, right? Like you're not even one of the top 12 teams. And I know it doesn't just go by the regular rankings. Um, but like for example, like people that are talking about Alabama not being in there and them being in there. So here's the thing too. It's like a team like Bama, like when they had Nick Saban, they won six national championships with Nick Saban, right? So they've in the last 15 years they won six titles. So there's a standard. And they've even been in national championship games and they lost national championship games. So he's probably been in I mean, let's say maybe he's been in 10 national championship games, maybe it's eight, but like that's the standard for them. So like if they did not make the playoff, it's because throughout the season they did not do the things that puts them at that standard, right? So now you can't hold the past against them, but at the same time, we know what a Bama team that deserves to be in the playoff, we know what that looks like, right? And if the voters and everybody they're looking at the season, they're like, no, they just didn't make the cut, then that's just what it is, and we gotta accept it. And the thing is, we don't want to get too jaded to where like we complain too much and we're forcing them to expand even more and expand even more, expand even more. And then we have, a 32 team playoff. And it's like, no, we don't got time for that. 12 teams is enough, right? 12 teams might be more than enough, but that's getting those fringe teams in. That's getting those teams in that are not Power Five conference teams, and it's allowing them to kind of make some noise. Now we've had some people get knocked off and things like that, and we've had blowouts, and that's the thing. The playoff is going to correct itself as it goes through, but we are going to get teams that have to be tested, so to speak, and they cannot just rely on um, the regular season or just their reputation. Like they're gonna have to beat some teams. They're gonna have to get nitty gritty and prove that they are the best team. And if you lose, you lose. I mean, you didn't deserve to be there. So so that's that when it comes to the college football playoff. Really excited about it, but again, I am still hearing people complain, and I'm like, man, y'all can't make everybody happy. If my team was possibly the 12th seed, I have to be thinking in my head, like, if my team got in and they were the 12th seed, I have to be honest with myself and think, like, maybe they didn't really deserve it. Like, I feel like if you're anywhere from 9 to 12, like, if you're not one of the top eight teams in the playoffs, you have to feel that, like, yo, you were gifted that opportunity. Like you might not necessarily deserve to be there because can you really beat any of the top eight teams? Can you beat any of the top four teams? If you can't, then just be happy and be blessed that you made it. You know what I'm saying? And we can't just be looking at box scores at the end of games and be like, oh, see, this proves it. Like, no, it don't necessarily prove that. We don't know what the other team would have done, and also you didn't do what you needed to do in your schedule to be in a higher position, right? So that's that with college football playoff. Next thing I want to talk about when in terms of college football, I did want to talk about the transfer portal and NIL a little bit. I don't want to get too much into it, but there's a couple things that I did not know about the transfer portal. So things that I do know that with going into the transfer portal, players no longer lose a year eligibility. So that was a big thing. Um, back when because guys would transfer, but like they would have to sit out a year. They would basically lose a year of playing time, and then they would have to regroup and do some things. Now, I think there's exceptions to the rule and stuff like that, but that's the gist of it. Now, with the transfer portal, you get to go as a transfer and you don't lose any time. Like you can play right away, and you can hop in and out of the transfer portal as kind of as much as you want. Like I think you can go to like there's college football players that have played for like three or four teams. Playing for two teams in college is rare, but we have seen some successful players do it. We've seen Russell Wilson do it. There's a bunch more. That was the first one that comes to my mind because he played for NC State and then he went to Wisconsin, who has the same colors and everything. And you know what I'm saying? So like it kind of blended in a little bit. But like now you're getting guys that's playing for multiple teams. I think Jalen Hurts also did that. Um, there's a couple guys that were able to play for multiple teams and still do their thing. However, I feel like the transfer portal comes with some cons that I did not even realize were that existed, so to speak, right? So for example, um, the transfer portal now and when you have to declare for it, it starts before bowl season. So one improvement off the bat I'll make is that the transfer portal and putting your name in there, it should happen after bowl season, right? It should happen after bowl season. Um, the thing is, the transfer portal is something that's very player centered and pro athlete, right? However, you don't even though like it was one sided for a long time, the pendulum has swung completely to the players. And I think that like if you are transferring, you should have to go through a little bit of some hoops, a little bit. Like you should go through a little bit of hardships, but like you shouldn't be allowed to transfer before the bowls and then basically like you leave your team hanging, right? And there's teams that are really assembled with a lot of transfer players. And so like they don't even know who's necessarily suiting up with them in their bowl game, right? And especially like, what if your team made the playoff and you decide to leave? Like I feel like you're kind of taken away from your team. So I feel like all that type of stuff should not start until after the season's over, right? Like it could start the day after, like like Black Monday, like after the season's over in the NFL and like coaches get fired and stuff like that. Like yeah, it should be like okay, a day like that where we know, all right, all college football is done. Um, and then now we should have this day where all these guys are declaring for the portal or not. But I feel like you shouldn't just get the luxury of just being able to just bounce and quit on your team. Like that's a luxury for some guys, especially guys that may not have gotten as much playing time as they hope for. It shouldn't be something. So for example, Penn State, they had their quarterback. He's from my hometown. His name is Bo Prabula, right? And he went to Central York High School. He's been the backup now in Penn State for a couple years, and the starter that he's playing behind, this guy is like a fifth or sixth year like senior. He's about to be like a fifth or sixth year senior, and like he's staying for his senior season. So Bo decided to transfer, which I don't have no problem with Bo transferring, but he obviously when you declare it's before their playoff game. So like I don't think he's with the team anymore. Like I don't think he's with the team anymore, but it's like what if we need you? You know what I'm saying? Like what if we need you? Like that is your position. You're the backup quarterback. Like what if we need you? And like yeah, I don't think Bo is like required to stay with the team and play in that game. I don't think he's allowed to play in the game for that matter. And I think that's kind of crazy. I think we're just again we're doing too much to incentivize players, and I don't think that, you know what I mean, like you already don't lose eligibility. You can play right away. So it's like, well, yeah, that's what you worry about that, after everything is after all the dust is settled anyway. In regards to NIL, in regards to NIL, um, and even in regards to transferring, all right. But with NIL, I think there has to be some form of buyout, right? So what one thing that players and coaches and that I've been seeing they're talking about with NIL, especially coaches, is the fact that like, all right, these players are getting like basically contracts to play at these specific schools. Now, not everybody is getting to play, getting that. Now, there I heard there was a distinction. Coach Prime, he said there's a difference between collectives and NIL. So NIL is like actual branding, but then now there's these collectives where like basically the team has a big pot of money, and then they determine like, all right, well, you get this, you get this. But we still call it, we put it in the umbrella of NIL because in the past, players were not allowed to be paid at all, right? Like, or it was illegal, and even though it might have been going down. But what I've been hearing is that coaches are saying like, yo, it's crazy because like you have to basically re-recruit your own players every season. You have to renegotiate with your players every season. So like you can't even be the coach that you want to be. Like if these players experience some type of hardship while they play on your team, you yell at them too much, you riding them too much, they might be like, man, fuck you, bro. I'm leaving. I'm going to another team. And the thing is, right, now that this is a business, right? Now that we're treating it like a business and basically we're treating these people like pros. We're treating them like professionals. Well, now contractually there should be some stipulations, right? Like you shouldn't be fully incentivized to just be able to look for a new team and get a new deal right away. So what I suggest, and I've heard this suggested, is that yeah, there needs to be some type of buyout. The argument used to be that, well, a coach can leave the team and leave the team high and dry and things like that, and leave the players, and it's not right. So the players should be able to do that too. The thing is, when coaches leave, they have to buy out their contracts. Like there's a buyout clause to where so you're not getting paid all this money. It's like, no, you want to be let go, you want greener pastures, you want a better opportunity for yourself, that's fine, but here's a penalty for that because you didn't live up to this contract. Same thing with college athletes. It's like, yeah, all right, that's fine. You found a new deal, but you owe us this money, right? So you're not about to just be hopping from team to team, um, especially like because it might not be financially beneficial to you. So I think there should be some type of rules in terms of that, and like I said, there should be some type of penalty. Like we're not losing eligibility, but we should be treating these if it's a business like that, then all right, you got to play ball and you got to realize like this is how business is done. You can't just leave contracts whenever without no consequences, right? And I do feel like you are acting like a diva a little bit if you're trying to renegotiate every single season. Like I think that's it's taken away from what the game is, and like these coaches, they can't really build their teams. So I don't know. It's getting a little bit weird, but I know that they're gonna probably rein it in a little bit. And I really feel like guys should just be able to go to the league. Maybe not in football, but like in other sports, especially basketball. Let them go to the league. And which makes me want to talk about this new eligibility rule. So they just passed this thing where they're saying when it comes to junior college, like guys that go JUCO, now those 2 years that you play JUCO, they do not necessarily count. They don't count against your NCAA eligibility, right? So you could play, let's say, if you played without getting redshirted, you have 6 seasons, basically 6 seasons of playing eligibility. Now somebody broke it down and they talked about how like, yo, you could be in college basketball essentially for 11 years, and they broke it down all the different ways. So basically like you go JUCO, but then you redshirt the first year, and then you play, and then you get hurt, so then you get a medical redshirt because a medical redshirt is a little bit different. and then you play your other season, then you transfer, then you redshirt, then you play, and then you know, and so basically like doing all these different scenarios, the most you probably can get out of college sports is 11 years. And that is entirely too long, right? So if you play college sports for 11 years, give or take, like let's hypothetically, right? You talking about a guy going to into a professional league as a 30-year-old player after being in college sports for 11 years? Like that's way too long. That's way too reckless. I think it's cool. I think it is cool. I think what it does is when you play basketball as an adult, and what I've noticed is that like ball is really life for a lot of guys, right? Like it's really life. So when you're playing basketball with these guys, there's a lot of guys that still feel like they could make it. There's a lot of guys that play like really high competitive basketball in all types of leagues. They're jumping into semi-pro leagues. They're trying to go overseas. They're going to these like JUCO, situations. And I think it's cool. I think it's cool to keep your opportunities open, but I still think it's a little bit excessive. And it's like it might be time for you to leave school or like realize like, yo, I'm not gonna make it as a player, right? The one good thing about being an athlete is that people underestimate a lot of times is that if you do play college sports and you are an athlete to that extent, like you don't have just not making the league, not being a player is not the end all be all. Like you open yourself to so many more opportunities that like the regular person can't get. Like most regular people can't just be coaches, right? So you can get into coaching right away. Um, you can get into being like a broadcaster, like, and obviously you can go to school for that, but also like the athletes a lot of times they get the first dibs, like these places they want their former athletes to be announcers for their teams and to be commentators and stuff like that. So like so you have media opportunities, you have coaching opportunities, and you probably have like some other type of like behind the scenes managerial type of um possibilities that you just wouldn't get. So like I think people need to stop taking for granted, like, and don't look at being an athlete and just making it to the league as a professional athlete is the end all be all. Like there's all these different avenues that we could say nepotism or whatever, but like, people look out for their people in sports all the time. And I want people to realize that like there's way more career paths than just getting into sports medicine, all that type of stuff. Like there's different ways to really utilize your resources and your experience and your time playing for whoever you play for. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Enough about enough about college football as a whole. As a whole, now we're gonna talk about one particular person. So this is the Travis Hunter part of the episode, right? So definitely wanted to congratulate Travis Hunter on being the Heisman Trophy winner. And we're gonna talk a little bit about his Heisman Trophy winnings, and then we're gonna get into his personal life a little bit because he's been getting ragged on a lot, getting dogged out in the media. Some of it is self-inflicted. Some of it is maybe well-deserved. Some of it I think is like genuinely people trying to look out for him, and like we got a young boy that wants to do whatever he wants to do, right? So let's talk about the Heisman Trophy. So a lot of people felt like it was a two-man race. They felt like it was going to be Travis Hunter versus Ashton Genty from Boise State University. And so Ashton Genty, he still has a chance to break Sanders' long-standing rushing record, right? And he had a bunch of touchdowns, like he's ran away with the rushing title. Like when I looked at his stats, he has like over 2,400 rushing yards. The record is like 2,600 something, right? Which is crazy when you think about that. But then the next person I think in college football has like 1,600 yards. So like he is blowing the competition out of the water, hands down, right? The problem is though, the problem with Ashton Genty is that, and this is where we gotta be real with ourselves. He plays in the Mountain West Conference, right? Now, there are some decent teams in the Mountain West. There are some teams that get ranked in the Mountain West. But at the same time, dog, you play in the Mountain West. Like the only teams that they've played that were like Power Five, they did play Oregon and they did only lose by a field goal, but that was in the very beginning of the season, right? So that's like that kind of gets like, all right, people forget about that. Um, they played UNLV. UNLV was ranked. They played, and even though they're not Power Five, they're still Mountain West. I think they played Oregon State and they played Washington State. Like they didn't play a lot of teams that. So even though he's killing it, he did not play against the best competition. And it's hard to compare that to Barry Sanders, right? Because Barry Sanders, when the Big 12 was what it was back in the day and all, and he also had a running mate. Like people forget, like he played with Thurman Thomas. Him and Thurman Thomas were in the same backfield, and he still had 2,600 yards rushing. Like it's just different. It's levels, man. It's levels to this. Um, Another thing that I did not like though was them comparing. One thing I seen was them comparing this season to Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy win in 2005. And this is where it gets weird for me as a sports fan because it's like I'm not just people didn't just root for Reggie Bush because of whatever. Reggie Bush was electrifying. All right. So yes, Reggie Bush won the Heisman Trophy. He had 1,700 yards rushing. He had like 16 touchdowns, but he also had a lot of receiving yards, right? He had probably about 400, 500 receiving yards. He had multiple touchdowns there, right? But then he was also a deadly kick and punt returner, right? And then he amassed a lot of yards all purpose, right? Also, let's not forget that Reggie Bush he shared a backfield with another elite running back, Lendell White. Lendell White had 1,300 yards rushing that season. So in that backfield, they had over 3,000. They had way more over 3,000 yards rushing, and so he had the bulk of it. Like he had the majority of those yards. So we're gonna discredit him, even though he had like another pro style running back in his backfield, and Lendell White led the team. He got all the goal line carries. He led the team with 24 touchdowns. He might have led all college football with 24 touchdowns that season. So the situation is a little bit different, but also the USC Trojans then they had a pro style offense, right? Where they also had, remember the year before that, their quarterback won the Heisman Trophy. So it's like or maybe even the year after that. But like we cannot ignore those facts that like you also had a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback and they played in an offense that was not one dimensional. Like they played an offense where they're spreading the ball around and Reggie Bush is averaging 8 yards a carry. Like anytime he got the ball, it was a highlight. It was a highlight he could possibly go for a touchdown. When you look at Boise State and you look at the box scores and you look there's the game splits and stuff like that, bro, and they talk about how much of the offense he accounts for. That's the problem. Like I think he accounts for like 60% of the offense. That's the problem. And like he's doing all this because they're just giving him the ball. He had mad games where he had over 35 carries in the game. Right? That's not real football. And also that shows us that you're not playing against the best teams because you can literally just hand the ball 37 times to Ashton Genty and then he's going to win you the game. Who are you playing against if you can do that? If you could just run the ball game, who are you really beating? Who are you playing against? So like it's not even the same thing. Like we can't compare apples and oranges, right? You can't compare what Reggie Bush did to what Ashton Genty has accomplished because we talking from two totally different perspectives, right? So then let's get into Travis Hunter. So Travis Hunter, amazing season, right? And everybody is mad because they think he only won it because he's played both sides of the ball. Now here's the thing. He did play both sides of the ball, but like everybody's acting like he was mediocre at both sides of the ball. No, he was amazing playing both sides of the ball, right? So one of the leaders in interceptions, right? Shut down corner to where teams are not even throwing to him. He still managed to get four interceptions, right? Four interceptions as a college football player is nothing to it's nothing to stick your nose up to. Even if you're an NFL player, four interceptions is a solid season. Now, if you get five or six, that's you're probably guaranteed five. Anything above five, you're probably gonna guarantee yourself a Pro Bowl spot. Four though, you can still make a Pro Bowl at four, and the four interceptions might show that like teams are scared to throw your way, right? So you got that. But like this is where people are like this is where people are like super misguided, right? And they're talking about like, well, yeah, he wasn't even the top player at his position at wide receiver. Like he wasn't even the best receiver in college football. Timeout. First off, right? Um, they do awards for who is the best wide receiver in college football. And Travis Hunter did win the Bolitnikov Trophy, right? So the thing is, though, the Bolitnikov Trophy is not a stats trophy. It is about like collectively who is the best receiver. It is about impact, yards and touchdowns and receptions. They are a factor. They are a factor, but it's not the main factor because the thing is if they were just giving people these awards just based off stats alone, you would see guys that you've never heard of winning these trophies, right? Like you have to play on big teams. You have to, what I mean, you have to have an impact. What is your competition? Like it's one thing to have 1,500 yards receiving and you play in, whatever conference versus 1,500 yards receiving and you're playing in the SEC. Now, when I looked at the stats, like he's top five in pretty much every major statistical category when it comes to receiving, right? And when I break down the stats, right? Most people that are ahead of him are players that don't play in Power Five conferences, right? So he had 92 receptions in college football. 92 receptions. 92 receptions, I think that puts him in top five. I think he's like the fifth best. Let me just double check this real quick. 'Cause I'm about to go back to my stats because I'm getting. Oh yeah, we're about to get into it. Yeah, let's look. Let's look here. Hold on. I think I got a visitor. All right, so we're gonna break down stats. So Travis Hunter tied for fifth with 92 receptions, right? The only players that are ahead of him in Power Five conferences. Let's make that distinction here, right? Well, he's tied with Tyler Warren from Penn State, right? The big tight end. Okay. And some guy named Ty Felton that played for Maryland. Good job for Ty Felton, but like, who the fuck is Maryland, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, who? I mean, Bowling Green is FBS, but it's not Power Five. And some guy named Harold Fannin Jr., whoever the hell that is, and then Nick Nash had 104 receptions, but he plays for San Jose State. We're not talking about the same thing here. That's it's levels, man. So only player that played against like comparable competition would be Tyler Warren, right? So all right, good for him. But still top five. Really, if we go power five, really he's top two. So, you know what I'm saying? Tie for first for real. Second, maybe. Tie for second. Okay. Receiving yards. Yeah. Travis Hunter was seventh in college football in receiving yards, which again, that's really good, right? So it's not like he's far behind anybody. So he had 1,152 yards. The guy ahead of him at six played for Florida International, right? 1172. Okay, 20 yards off, but also who the fuck is Florida International? Um, Jaden Higgins. All right, so 1183. Not that many more yards. Not that many more yards than Travis Hunter. He did play for Iowa State. All right. Ohio. So somebody that plays for Ohio. The only guy that plays in the Power Five conference that has more yards than him. It's two guys. It's Jaden Higgins, which not that big of a deal, and then McMillan from Arizona. So okay, but still probably the best and most impactful receiver in that group, right? And then touchdowns. So y'all forget Travis Hunter was second in college football in touchdowns. Second in college football, behind the same guy who led the league in receptions, Nick Nash, who plays for again what I say San Jose State. So that means in the Power Five conference, prolifically he was the best receiver. He was the best receiver in college football. You know what I'm saying he has the hardware to match, but also when we talk about competition, when we talk about who they played against, things like that, like yes, this is the best receiver in college football. Um, and yeah, so that's pretty much those are the major statistics, right? And so like I don't want y'all to like we can't shy away from the fact that he played both sides of the ball. People even using like I love Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson was a Heisman Trophy winner. Probably the last defensive Heisman Trophy winner, right? Tyrann Matthew probably could have won and that he probably could have won it. You know what I mean? When he was up for the Heisman, he probably could have won it and stole the show. But Charles Woodson also he didn't really play offense. Like he might have played a snap or two on offense, but he did return kicks. That's not the same thing. This guy's playing 75 snaps a game. You know what I'm saying? Offense and defense. It's not the same. It's not the same. Like this is a guy that's really playing both sides of the ball, and he might not be the best at playing both sides of the ball, but he's not even mediocre. Like he's playing at an elite level on both sides of the ball. So that's the biggest difference there. And I want people to like actually look at that and like really dig into what they're talking about, as opposed to just throwing stuff out there. Y'all just throwing stuff out there like, oh, he's not even the best. He was the best. He was the best. Especially the fact that like this guy's probably dog tired throughout the game. Like stamina is being the Iron Man is crazy. And to be honest with you, right? He's probably gonna he's there's not a lottery pick in the NFL, but he's probably a top five pick in at either position. At either position. So it's gonna be interesting to see where he goes and what they're gonna want to focus on and things like that. Um but yeah, we'll see. But like I think his Heisman Trophy win was more than deserved, and I'm happy for him, man. All right, and then let's get into the shenanigans though. Let's get into the mess. All right, so Travis Hunter, man, oh my gosh. So Travis Hunter has a fiance, right? So he is with this girl. He has a fiance. And first off, there's a lot of discrepancies, right? So Travis Hunter has been out there defending his fiance, right, on social media because of all these other things, right? So one thing that I want to show, one thing I'll say is that he's just young and dumb, right? And he's young and dumb, and what he needs to do is make his feelings numb, right? So I'm gonna talk about some mistakes that he's made in throughout this process, and then we're gonna maybe share some videos and talk about this girl a little bit. But first, yeah, actually, yeah, we are gonna talk about this girl a little bit. I'm gonna share a video, and this is something that just has resurfaced, and it's his coach giving him some guidance, Coach Prime. 'Cause that's what he's known for. He's a mentor. He's gonna give him guidance. So this is an old video that's resurfaced of Coach Prime, right? Dion telling Travis Hunter to get a prenup. All right, so let's look at this real quick.
Better when I tell her I only want her. I don't want nobody else. I don't look at nobody else.
Don't put that in the video.
No, put that in the video. Keep that right in the video.
I think he done got married on us and ain't told nobody.
Nah, not yet.
Not yet, I like it. Cause I'm gonna do your prenup for you. It's gonna be about this thick.
Better when I tell her.
All right, so Travis Hunter, your coach was telling you, yo, we gonna get you a prenup, right? Because he sees that, like, yo, man, if a coach can give you, especially a guy like Coach Prime, like who did not have any trouble with the ladies or anything like that, that's the guy that you want to be giving you advice on how women kind of carry themselves around athletes, right? So he's just kind of giving him some game, and then this guy's all like, "Oh, I'm in love with this girl. I'm in love with this girl." The first thing though is like I think we got to realize is that Travis Hunter is most by most women's definition, he probably is not the most attractive dude, right? He's not bagging women off of what he looks like, maybe not even his personality necessarily, whatever. And it feels like this woman, right? She likes the athlete. Now, I mean, this guy might have a bunch of other skills. He might be an amazing man in terms of like relationship wise, but like just off the aesthetic, he a funny looking dude, man. He a funny looking dude, and I think he's excited that he's getting a little bit of attention. He has somebody that's at the very least showing him that she cares about him, right? But the biggest mistake, though, I'm gonna go over some mistakes. So that was, one is not listening to your coach, right? And you kind of moving the way you're moving. One of his other mistakes though is I feel like is giving his girlfriend a platform, letting his girlfriend be a public figure, right? So that even goes into like being on social media, right? So I know that the young people feel like they like this is their generation and this is social media and this is how things go. But they fail to realize is that social media still started and got popularized with my generation, right? So like although they kind of have been innovative in social media, like the older people still make the rules, right? Older people still make the rules, and although this is y'all domain overall, you're forgetting how things work, right? So first off, um, a lot of these athletes, high profile athletes, have girlfriends in their lives, right? They have some woman in their life, right? But one thing that they don't do typically is they don't give them a platform. So, like, even you having a page where you're with your girlfriend and y'all making TikToks and y'all doing this, y'all doing that, you just open up for somebody that's high profile like yourself. You're opening up the floodgates, right? You're opening up a part of your life that you probably don't want people to be a part of, right? Because now that gives people opportunity to get at your girl, right? It also gives them an opportunity to like try to embarrass you in your girl, right? And that's all that's been happening in the last couple weeks. But also too, it's like maybe we don't need to necessarily media train her, like tell her what to say in the media, but like you want your girlfriend in that kind of setting, in that kind of scenario, you kind of probably want her to be just quiet. You just want her to kind of live your life because it is about to get hectic for you, but like don't make yourself a part of the show. And so she talks a lot. She does a lot of recording. She's saying a lot of different things, whatever. And that's where it's like, no, you made her too public. Like she should just be the person by your side. Like she don't need to be a personality, right? Second thing is actually him responding to the criticism, right? So yes, you already opened up the floodgates, right? But you look sensitive, you look crazy, and I know you feel like you just standing on business, right? But like you responding, you make you make yourself look kind of weaker in certain scenarios, but also you kind of validate all the things that people have been saying, all the negative things. You're just reinforcing those stereotypes and assumptions because like you're getting out there and you're defending it when really in all actuality if he would stay quiet he would naturally have fans that do all the social media work for him, right? In terms of like he would have had legions of people coming to his defense if Travis Hunter never said anything, never tried to publicly defend his girlfriend for whatever claims, her virtue and stuff like that, because it's like at the end of the day it's nobody's business, right? And but when you put your relationship out there you make it everybody's business, but also it's like, yo, you're gonna if you get don't get bogged down arguing with people on social media about your girl. Let the fans do it, right? Because you're gonna have you're so loved and respected in college sports that people will look at it like, yo, these people are just haters. As opposed to them, people look at those people right now, they're looking at them as like, dang, they telling the truth. They telling it like it is. But if you to stay quiet, you might have made them look like haters. Like, dang, like it would have been like the narrative would have been like, yo, why y'all so worried about Travis Hunter's girl? Now, granted, we are seeing a little bit of that, but like that's only because he's taken himself off of social media. That's only because she's kind of been off social media now, and it's all reactive. But he could have just stayed silent and then like let people do the internet fighting for him, right? Um, let's see. Yeah, shouldn't be responding at all. And then I feel like with Travis Hunter, he's refusing to see the red flags in this individual. Now, I'm not trying to come at her too hard, but like there's been a couple things that have come to light that makes it look a little bit crazy. So let me play a video first, and this is her talking about kind of like the Heisman Trophy time. All right, so this is Travis Hunter's girl talking about. So this is like her being part of like so yeah, even she was at the Heisman Trophy ceremony and stuff like that. It's like, yo, she don't even need to she could be in the audience, but she don't need to be sitting right there with you, man. And you're doing too much, man. So let's put this down here. Probably give her grace and all that. Okay. So this here clears the air. Travis Hunter's fiance speaks out regarding backlash after attending Heisman Trophy ceremony.
To be addressing all this stuff online because I'm tired emotionally and mentally of seeing people try to make me out to be a person that I am not. But what's a testimony without a test of faith? So I'm going to start from the very beginning with this my type thing. I got permission from Travis to say these things because these are previously things I didn't want online. But I'm going to tell y'all the full story just so y'all know. So Travis, when he first ever DM'd me, when we first met, I said I left him in my DM for 2 months, and people said, oh, she left him in his DM until she figured out who he was. That is not true at all. The real reason Travis sat in my DM for 2 months is because he DM'd me when he had a girlfriend, and her name was in his bio, so I instantly knew he had a partner. So I exited. Okay, I'm going to be addressing all. I don't care about what people look like or what they can give me. I date people for who they are as a person, how they honor God, and how they treat the people around them. And Travis is all the above. So when I said he wasn't my type, I meant because he was younger than me. I had never dated no one younger than me, and he had cheated on his girlfriend. I don't know if your type is cheaters, but mine isn't. So no, he wasn't my type at first off of those two things.
All right, so she's making it that when we talk about type, we know what people are talking about, right? We're not talking about all these different scenarios and stuff like that. She's talking about younger than him, whatever. Like, how much younger is he than you? Like, what are you talking about? When we say somebody's type, we talking about personality and we talking about looks. We're talking about appearance. So now she's trying to change this narrative and say like, oh no, I didn't mean it that. I'm talking about like these specific things, like his age and his past relationship history. That's not a type. That's something that happened. That doesn't mean like that's what he is. That's just something that happened. But let's keep going.
But that didn't discredit the fact that I was attracted to him. That's obviously why I gave him a chance.
No, you was not attracted to him. That's not why you gave him a chance. You gave him a chance because you looked up his stats, you seen how big of a name he was, and you see like, oh snap, like this dude might be it. Like he might be that boy.
And then I learned he truly is a phenomenal and wonderful human being, and that's why we're together, and that's why we're still together to this day. I don't care about what people look like or what they can give me. I date people for who they are as a person, how they honor God, and how they treat the people around them. And Travis is all the above. So when I said he wasn't my type, I meant because he was younger than me. I had never dated no one.
Okay,
Pop-up shop this past weekend. People are saying that I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Just sit here? That's not what I said. First of all, I said, baby, do you want me to sit here or do you want me to go with the family or do you want me to come with you? Because what y'all don't know, again, off of a 7-second clip, is those weren't fans, by the way. He had already finished that part. He had finished meeting with the fans. I was there the entire time taking pictures, talking to them, everything. The girls that were there, they were the Adidas, they worked for Adidas. So we were taking pictures for social posts. That's who those people were. I wasn't annoyed with no fans at all. I'm never annoyed with fans. So that's what that was. And then Travis was getting ready to leave. He had to be at a rehearsal for the Heisman ceremony. They had to do walkthroughs and stuff like that. So I was asking him, I was like, do you want me just to sit here? Do you want me to go back to the hotel? Like, do you want me to wait for our family? Because his family was in there shopping. Because Adidas let them go pick out stuff in the stores, like a 4 pop-up shop this past weekend. People
I don't, that part of the story I don't care about. So whatever.
actual Heisman ceremony. This is making me so mad because anyone who knows me knows I support Travis in every win, everything he does, because I truly, truly love that man.
So this one says, Liana explains why she didn't get up immediately when Travis Hunter's name was called during the ceremony. I'm not gonna nitpick all these little aspects, whatever. Okay, this is what we want to see though. So this is a lie. So this is what we're gonna talk about, a little bit of the timeline. But Travis Hunter responds to those criticizing his fiance. I know what I got. My girl been with me for 5 years. That's not true. That is not true. He was like, I don't know why he said that, because people can go back and prove that to be not true, because now they're using this. That people are actually using this against him, right? They're saying that he's saying that he was with her for 5 years. He was only with her for it'll be 3 years in March, whatever. But they met March 2022, right? They weren't together that long. So, but this is what he says. Oh, is this one? Okay, we can't. Oh, we can't play that one. Okay, so here it is. Um, so yeah, so me talking about the fact that they're using that against him. So now all these different things. So like, again, so you put your girl, you kind of put her in a bad spot actually. You know what I'm saying? Like, she might be a good girl and she might be for the streets. She's been doing some things that seem like she's for the streets. So when you're publicly talking about your boyfriend and talking about like, oh, he wasn't really my type. Like, I feel like people don't need to know that. And like, people are definitely gonna assume what they assume. I come to the same assumption now, where it's like, when we talk about your type, we're not talking about all that little extra stuff. We're talking about the things that we can see, and then the only thing that we can't see that we're talking about is personality, right? So you say he wasn't your type, right? Um, Now people are pointing out that, like, she's been in music videos with other guys, and it looks like they might have been put out some type of tape where she was like dealing with some other guys, and they're using that timeline against him. They're like, well, if he's been with her 5 years for 5 years, well, this happened 3 years ago. But that's the thing. He's actually only been with her like 3 years. So I don't know if he threw out that number just to make people like sympathize and be like, yeah, no, she's for real. She's for real. I don't know, man. I just feel like everybody does make mistakes. Everybody is, when you're young, you are in love, and you might not always make the best choices. But I feel like he's a high stakes individual, and you wanna create the least amount of noise as possible when it comes to your personal life, right? Like, all the talk that it should be business, it should be what's on the field, right? That's what the loudest talk should be. Right now, the loudest talk is all his personal life stuff, and it's like he needs to realize, like, yo, bro, you did put some of this onto yourself, but like, you got to move a little bit different. Like, so what do y'all think? What do y'all think about this whole situation? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this whole Travis Hunter stuff, right? And then last thing we're gonna get into some recaps. All right. Recaps. All right. So let me go to my I did want to talk about the Packers real quick. Yeah, we'll end with the Packers. But so I did see Gladiator. I seen Gladiator 2. So, confession. I seen Gladiator 2 over the weekend, right? but I just seen Gladiator 1 the night before I seen Gladiator 2. So I already wanted to see it. I wanted to see it partially because Denzel Washington was in it, and I thought that was dope. Like they put this guy in there. However, I prior to that, I'd never seen Gladiator. So I was like, oh, I gotta watch it. Yo, Gladiator was a dope movie, all right? And the thing is, though, with going into Gladiator 2, um, I see why they made a sequel. Now, I heard that there was some backlash. People were saying like, oh, like even Russell Crowe like feeling like there was no need for it or they shouldn't have did this. However, when you watch it now, kind of knowing that perspective, because I heard about like certain characters being a part of it, kind of coming back, characters coming back, and you're looking at it, but like, no, there's a lot of instances where you're like, and the thing is, I gotta speak really vaguely because I really don't want to give anything away about it. But the first Gladiator left, there's a lot of room for like people to come for a sequel to happen. Like there is a lot of room for a sequel to happen because there's quite a few things that happen like off screen that you could be like, oh, well, maybe this is what happened. Maybe this is what happened, right? So like, yes, it is a big like I understand that people were upset and about certain plot points, but if you go back and watch the first one, if you watch the second one, you go back and watch the first one, you're gonna see like, oh, yeah, no wonder this person came back into this storyline. Like I could see that. So they left a lot of room for that. But like the first one is an amazing film. Second one was amazing. And Denzel Washington, I did not know what kind of role he was gonna play. I really thought he was gonna be kind of secondary. But like he stole the show because he's Denzel Washington. You know what I'm saying? Um, but like no, he like I'm gonna let you know like he is a good villain. He's a villain in this movie. He's a villain. But he don't seem like he the villain. You know what I'm saying? He don't seem like he the villain. He's not even the villain right away, so to speak. But yeah, his little origin story, the moves that he's making, he reminds me of like, yeah, like Littlefinger off of Game of Thrones. Like that's the vibes he's giving, man. Like where he just has a lot of schemes going on and like he rises to a position that like I don't think anybody expected and it makes for a good fight scene. But yeah, dope movie, man. I definitely recommend you seeing it if you haven't. Again, I don't want to give too much away about the movie, so I can't give you a full like review of it or recap because again, I think it still is too new to be doing all that. But I'd say it's an 8 out of 10. I'd say 8 out of 10. I think there's a part of it where it's a little bit longer than it has to be. I feel like they dragged a certain part of the movie out that didn't need to be dragged out. But overall I loved it. I loved it. But yeah, you should go see it. You should definitely go see it. Next thing I want to talk about, just recap real quick, and we will probably spoil some things about this, is so I finished season 3 of the Ultimatum. And I tell you, man, that is the scariest show on reality TV. That's definitely the scariest dating or relationship show on TV. So if you know about the ultimatum, it's basically your partner issues you an ultimatum, and so what they do is they put you into this group. So you're with these other couples that have also been, where ultimatum has been issued, and what happens is you get to pick a new partner for like a 3 week period. And obviously both people got to agree to it, like, you and the other person. So y'all agree to be in a relationship and y'all get to be in a trial marriage. And then what you do is after, maybe you gain some perspective and then you go back into your regular relationship and you try to make it work, right? So it's the concept of that is crazy, right? The concept of that is crazy because it's like you are allowing your partner to be with somebody, so to speak. Now, I think as a couple, you would definitely have to go over some ground rules, right? But if you remember this show, so season 1 was crazy. Season 1, there was like 2 or 3 couples where people in their relationships, when they got into these new relationships, they went full physical and they had intercourse, they had sex with these other people. And so that's where the show stems from. And you're like thinking like, what? Like y'all actually, wow, like that actually happened? Like that's what y'all like, so it makes it like, yeah, that's really crazy. That's really crazy. And that kind of set the tone for the show. In season two, we seen like jealousy at an all-time high to where like we seen a woman invite her boyfriend or whatever to the ultimatum, and then they didn't even get past the first night of like mixing and just like dating and talking to people. This girl was like, no, we're leaving the show because basically she didn't want to see her man with nobody else, which that's a fine sentiment. Like you're allowed to feel that way. However, you don't sign up for a show like this if you can't even see, like if you don't even want to see your man talking to somebody else. You don't give him an ultimatum and put him into a situation where that's what the show is, right? So yeah, we seen that. And then the South, I didn't see the one. There was like a queer love one. I didn't watch that one, but then there was one from South Africa. Now that was the craziest season ever because the just the fighting, just the relationship dynamics. You did see some people like, kind of going all the way with their new person, the breakups, stuff like that. That was good, and it was good to see. It was just all black people in that one for the most part. But this season was really good. Season was really good too. We definitely seen like all those different elements, right? We seen people go a little bit too far with their new partners. We seen people get jealous. We seen people become really insecure. We also seen people leave the show. So like I think we've had some couples leave the shows in past seasons, but this one was wild because like um, not only did people leave the show, they literally left people by themselves, and that's the first time we ever seen that where like these people didn't just endure. Like you had a guy who he coupled with this woman, and he was so bent out of shape and talking about his ex that to me I feel like that's what like drew the girl away, and she said, "I'm out of here." And then there was another couple. Actually, like when people drop out, it affects like it's like a chain reaction, whatever. But anyway, the person that he was with, his new couple lady, her name was Vanessa. She bounced. She was like, I can't deal with this guy. So they left this guy, Nick. His name was Nick. They left him all by himself. And then you had this other couple. Um, um, his name was like Dave, and the girl was her name was Chanel. You could just tell like there was no interest there. There was nothing there. And then there was another guy, what's his name? Preston. I forget his name was Preston, but he was with this girl named Mariah, and him and Mariah were not hitting off. So he was like, I'm leaving. So Mariah was by herself, but then Dave is with Vanessa. So Dave was like, all right, I'm out. Uh, Also, Dave was dating this girl named Chanel, and Chanel was with Preston. So like it was basically two couples like just vanished off of the show. And what it did was it left two people just kind of assed out and by themselves. And we never seen that before. But the thing is though, with a show like this, it's like why do you agree to do something like this in this manner? Like y'all could just break up. Like in real life, y'all could just break up and just figure it out. And like if you want to date new people, you guys agree to that. But like to do it in this setting, it's like um it's just it's higher risk because like you're putting yourself there out on Front Street. And also then it becomes like, well, what is the agreement? Like what are we agreeing to as a term to this? Because there were some couples that was like, obviously they made the decision that's like, yo, you do whatever you want in this experience, like you get to have the full experience. But then there was other couples that you could tell like they were probably thinking like, all right, I want you to be with around this girl, but I don't want you to be physical. And I was surprised that there was only one couple out of this whole show that kind of blurred those lines and went and got a little bit more intimate in terms of kissing and things like that. But nobody else kissed, and I was really surprised by that. But like the breakups themselves, they all made sense. All the breakups that happened, they all made sense. Um, it's just the like I said, the spectacle of everything. And then like when people are lying about the things that they're doing, knowing that you're on camera and there's a bunch of receipts, it's wild because it's like, yo, I don't think nobody's used to living in those kind of circumstances. But it's like if you really think if you really think you're gonna get away with anything on a show like that, then you don't watch enough TV because those are the very moments that are going to stand out the most, right? So yeah, so really in the ultimatum, there was only one couple since we got to the reunion and stuff like that, because yeah, there was two couples that kind of decided to stay together, but there was only one couple that ultimately stayed together, and you could see that from a mile away, and then you could see from a mile away that the other couple was not gonna last. So, but yeah, man, it's just interesting, man, how untruthful people are on national TV, even though that there's receipts to show. So, but like I would never do that show ever, 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 ever. Like nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. So what do you think? What do you think? What do you think about this last season? Did you like it? I feel like yeah, I feel like the show still has enough novelty that they could pull off more seasons of this and it's not gonna get old. I think it's like it's just those dynamics. But like I feel like it's one of those things where you hope that people stay the whole time. It's like don't agree to something like this if you're not gonna like tough it out, right? So moving on. What you think? Moving on. Last thing, and then we're gonna wrap this up and let you guys enjoy the rest of your holidays. And hold on, who's this? Oh, this is for everybody. All right, here we go. So yeah, just last thing. I just wanted to, give a shout out to my Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers clinched a playoff spot. The Green Bay Packers, as of this episode, they are 11-4. 11-4. Um, just beat two non-divisional opponents like handily. Just gave out two blowouts, a 17-point win, and then we actually shut out a team. Now it was the Saints. The Saints are not good. Saints started off hot though. They started off hot, but we beat them 34-0. And yeah, man, my team is like kind of clicking. It does suck that we play in such a tough division because like we cannot get a higher seed. We can't win the division. There's no first round bye in sight. But what I would say is my first thing I want to say about my team is Aaron Rodgers, who? Aaron Rodgers, who? Who? Who we talking about? So we clinched the playoff spot. This is the second year in a row that we've clinched the playoff spot. This is the second year also without Aaron Rodgers. So I do feel good about Jordan Love leading our team, and I feel good about our team overall. This is Aaron Rodgers' third straight season of not making the playoffs. Now, even if you don't want to count last year because he was injured, we can count this year, right? This guy got to handpick his coach. He got to handpick all his players again, right? Um, so we can, shout, we can call a spade, like he's not doing what he got to do. And then his last year in Green Bay, he underachieved severely. He underachieved severely. And man, I'm just proud of my team, man. Like it's weird because when you look at the box score, like you're not gonna see a lot of like offensively, you're not gonna see a lot of like flashy stats. I think Jordan Love is doing enough as a quarterback. He's making really good decisions, which is something that does not show up in the box score. But I'm proud of our team, even though we don't have like some number one receiver that's like leading the league in anything. I do like this collective approach for now because it does make kind of game planning for our team. It makes it a little bit difficult. We do have I think the running game is a key part of our offense, and having Josh Jacobs is a game changer, man. He's a bell cow, over 1,200 yards rushing now this season. And he's doing his thing, man. Like really, really doing his thing. And he cannot be denied, man. He cannot be denied. So proud of my team. The defense is coming around. They're doing really good. I would suggest one thing though, one thing before we go. They really do need to revamp how they do seeding in the playoffs. So like I do think divisions should matter. Divisions should matter. Um, but I do need to. I think they need to readjust how seeding works because now it doesn't always happen. Like you don't always get a division that has three teams with double-digit wins. But I think that they should seed teams based on their record as opposed to based on you being a division winner or not. So what I mean is that like winning your division should guarantee you a playoff spot only, but it should not guarantee you where you're seated at. So like, you got the four divisions. So those automatically are the top four seeds, regardless of record. Like, yeah, those are the top four seeds, regardless of record, right? So obviously you have the number one team, and then whoever has the second best record, right, it's going to be the number two seed. And of those four teams, whoever has it basically those are the only time it's based on record. But like, no, like it should be like the Lions should be the number one seed. The Eagles, as of now, they should be number two. The number three seed should be the Vikings. Then the number four seed should be the Packers, just based off record, right? And then it's gonna make for more dynamic playoff matchups, right? And like for example, the Rams, if the Rams get into the playoffs, or the Buccaneers, right? Yeah, they should be the sixth or seventh or fifth seed because they're just not as good. And yeah, does it take away like them getting a home playoff game? Sure, sure. I mean, but I don't think that's wrong. I think if your team was collectively better than other teams in the whole conference, then you should be rewarded as such. But like I think, we do need to keep division winners as playoff teams because being a division winner would mean nothing then. Yeah, I mean, there'd be no reason for you to play the guys in your division two times. So like it should guarantee your playoff spot, but it should not guarantee you a home game, and it should not guarantee you a top four seed. It should just be, all right, you snuck into even if you because yeah, what if your division the best team is 9-8? You should not host a playoff game if you're 9-8 and everybody else is like, an 11-win team. Like you should not get to host a playoff game. But we'll see where it goes. I think the Packers might be able to win out. We might be able to win out. We got the Vikings. I think we could beat the Vikings, and then we got the Bears. So worst case scenario, we're 12-5, but I think we're gonna win out, man. I think we're gonna go 13-4, and then the chips are gonna fall where they fall, man. We're gonna see where that takes us, though. But yeah, man. Overall, what do you think? What do you think about this week? Had to squeeze a lot into a little bit. We did talk quite a bit about college football and Travis Hunter, and everything like that. But hopefully you had a good Merry Christmas. Looking forward to the new year. Looking forward to what 2025 has in store for us. If you're still watching the channel, I need you to hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the notification, hit the bell for notifications. Share the content, man. Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This is Los Def from the Twitty Post Podcast Show. I'm out.